Hey everyone, it's Amy here from Finger Lakes Explorers. Today we're taking you just north of the village of Skaneateles to the Charlie Major Nature Trail. Combining peaceful scenery and a bit of history, this nature trail covers just under a mile of old railroad bed that used to be home to the Skaneateles Shortline Railroad. Following the Skaneateles Creek, the rail trail takes you past the remnants and ruins of several old mills that were powered by the creek and serviced by the railroad all the way back to 1840. The trail is an easy and mostly flat out and back with entrances at both the northern and southern ends. The northern entrance in Mottville has a dedicated parking lot with several spots available for cars. Parking at the southern end of the trail is a little less obvious, but there are spaces for a couple of cars just a short walk away from the trailhead. And about midway up the trail, there's also a short spur off the trail that runs behind Skaneateles Brewery and Last Shot Distillery, so that's another great place to start or end your hike. On this visit, we started our walk at the southern end of the trail and headed north. Being an old railbed, the entirety of the trail is pretty wide with not much of an incline and is made up of crushed gravel and wooden bridges. The trail crisscrosses Skaneateles Creek several times, offering beautiful views of the slow-flowing creek with some rippling waterfalls here and there. As I mentioned earlier, the old railroad that used to cover this trail was known as the Skaneateles Shortline Railroad, and it was in use from 1840 all the way up until 1981. The railroad served a number of functions in its time, carrying goods from the mills along the creek, hauling ice from Skaneateles Lake, and taking passengers from the main rail lines to the north all the way down to this village of Skaneateles. Though the mills along the creek and trail are no longer in use, many of their remnants can still be seen today, making it a fun trail for history buffs. Several old stone walls line the sides of the creek and cross over it in places. I do wish there were markers or plaques here to give more information on what these old structures used to be. It's just fascinating to think about what they may have been. Some of the old buildings and remnants are covered in graffiti, though most of it was done with some artistic talent, so it adds a little color and character to the trail. About midway up the trail, there's a little spur off to the right if you're heading north that brings you to a really cool old part of a mill with a little waterfall that had been built in. Unfortunately, I lost my footage of the waterfall here, but you can get a sense from the picture of how pretty this area of the trail is. Don't miss it if you go. Back on the main trail, we continued north. We passed quite a few dog walkers and several couples out for a stroll. It really is such a great and accessible trail for people of all ages, and pets too. Everyone we passed was so friendly, and how could they not be when they're here? This section of the trail is so peaceful as it winds through the woods with the sounds of the babbling creek right nearby. After what seemed like no time, we made it to the northern trailhead. There is a small playground here, which is perfect for letting kiddos get some of their energy out if you bring them along with that parking lot I mentioned earlier. A few steps from the trail take you down to a really nice grassy area that's a wonderful spot for a picnic. It's kind of tucked away in just a really quaint little corner of land surrounded by the creek and some old building ruins. After taking a little break here, we headed back down the trail toward the southern entrance. The Charlie Major Nature Trail is such a great option for people of all ages and abilities to explore nature with a little history thrown in. And it's open year-round, so don't wait until next summer to check it out. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep up with our latest videos.